Hey, Brett here. I'm going to give you a basic somatic practice you can use anytime. You have to do it, not going to do it itself. And this is not meant to be a comprehensive thing, but it's meant to be something that will likely augment pretty much anything else that you're doing. If you're doing resistance training, this is going to help. If you're doing running, this is going to help. If you're doing yoga, this is going to help. If you're doing Tai Chi. So this is just a base thing you can do. And I'm going to give you basically two different practices that you can do independently or together. So let me just give you both practices right now. First of all, basic principles. Movement, slow and intentional is what we're going for. Slow, gentle, intentional movement. If you get pain, like you can point to a spot and it's stabby, back off slowly. If you get dizzy, sit down, back off slowly. The great default thing for you to do, if you get at all sort of discombobulated anyway, sit down, hand on your stomach, and just breathe 5 breaths a minute. In the nose, out your mouth. Just do that 5 breaths a minute. That's a good baseline. And honestly, that's a great technique that I'm not worrying about teaching you. But simply doing 5 breaths a minute for like 2 or 3 minutes is going to reset your nervous system. It's going to turn your sympathetic system down and turn your parasympathetic system up, and it will give you more space. All right. But that being said, breathing 5 breaths a minute, that's a good one. Standing with your feet hip width apart, loose joints, and just bounce. Qigong shaking. Now, there are lots of different ways you can do this. And you're going to find lots of people that say, do it this way or do it that way. What I'm going to say is do it. I don't care if you do this. I don't care if you do this. I do both. Like when I do this, I'm hitting my chest more and also my waist. When I do this, I'm getting my shoulders more. But the thing you've got to realize, this bouncing that I'm doing, this bouncing is encouraging the internal body to do the repair. So you're not actually directly shaking sufficiently fast enough to do what needs to get done to help your nervous system repair. But you know what you are doing? You're getting your muscles to do the work for you. So I'm bouncing my muscles, my myofascial systems are getting changed in direction by going up and down and up and down. They're bouncing off each other. There's bones, there's liquid, there's dielectric materials. And so all those things create different kinds of waves. And when I say waves, I mean frequencies between 5 and 15 hertz or 300 to 900 bounces a minute is what's going to do the healing. If you go too hard, that's actually bad. So notice, this is gentle. If you simply do this 10 minutes a day for 10 days, my personal experience was after 10 days, I was like, wait, I feel like I've been doing sitting meditation, except that it has a larger overall effect on the body. So I would, if I had to pick, and I don't, but if I had to, I would pick this over sitting meditation. Now, the next practice, I'll stop, is simply humming. Like for example, inhale through the nose. It doesn't matter. Open your mouth, close your mouth. Touch your teeth lightly, don't touch your teeth lightly. You're doing several things. One, you're extending your exhale, which is going to help your vagal nerve. Awesome. Really good for you. It's going to help calm you down. It's going to bring up your parasympathetic system, turn down your sympathetic system. That doesn't make you less able to respond, but it makes you less urgent to respond, which means you might have a little more time, which means you might be able to take in a little more information and have a better response. So humming, awesome. I do humming when I'm in a meeting. I'll mute. Even if I'm on camera, I'll mute because I can hum. But I can still hear what's going on, right? So I'm able to lightly hum. That's vibrating everything and helping with reducing my nervous system floor. You do the two together, it is bang up. You can actually get a complete release of the collagen in your body back to sort of a what's called a sol or liquid state. So the combination is amazing, and I do this every day. So this right here, if you can do this, is a really powerful parasympathetic dominant practice. Now, it's actually not parasympathetic dominant. It's actually homeostatic. Most people are so wound up and tight, it effective as a parasympathetic dominant system. But if you're really tired and you do this, you'll get back into a good baseline. So this is going to bring you to the baseline, but most people are up here, so most people are going to go in a calming direction. If you're really calm, it'll bring you up to the middle. So here we go. Bouncing in place and humming. Inhale, and then inhale. If I do this before, if I do 10 minutes of this before doing my deep flexibility work, like for example, I can get my left front splits all the way to the ground after 4 minutes. Or if I do this ahead of time, 1 minute. That's the difference. So this is going to loosen my body up. It's going to sort of reset all the stuff I've been doing all day long. And just as a side effect, helps the lymphatic system and so on. I mean, there's just so many benefits to this simple combination that if you simply do this and then see how it affects your other stuff, you're going to find probably an amazing multiplier, assuming you can do it. Humming or the vocal intonations like that can cause anxiety. So if you start to notice yourself getting nervous, great, sit down, hand on the belly. Do the shaking. But the nice thing is the shaking and the humming are working at different frequencies literally, right? This is like 5 hertz. No, I'm sorry, this is like 0.5 hertz, whatever, 0.5 hertz. It's very low. The humming is like 100 hertz. The humming is going in through the bones. The shaking is macro. So you're basically loosening your body from both directions. And this kind of loosening happens to be really good for the kind of systems our bodies are. Eventually, I get myself loose enough that if I slightly engage my ligaments, I can get almost a standing wave in my body, but I'm not there yet. Normally takes more like 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how tired I am from the day. But I'm already getting close, I can tell. One other thing, as you're doing this, eventually, so your collagen is designed to take on a somewhat rigid state if you are in a consistent position to help offload some of what you're doing, muscular-wise. So there's a mechanism here, but also I can reset it. So if you sit all day, do this, it'll help reset the damage you're doing to your collagen by sitting all day. And by the way, one of the biggest signs of aging is collagen formation. So if you do this, your collagen is going to tend to be better aligned from an electrical standpoint, which means your body's going to be more efficient. If you add to it something like deep flexibility or resistance training, you're building these new muscle fibers called sarcomere, and I won't be able to pronounce this word, but it's something like sarcomerogenesis. I don't remember the word, but the creation of sarcomeres. And if you do that and shaking and humming on a regular basis, over time, you'll relay your collagen across your body and reverse age, basically. You're not actually literally reverse aging, but if you were to measure your body from a biological standpoint, ATP usage, stress levels, A1C, blah, 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 all that stuff, you're going to find that over time, all those numbers are making it appear as if you're biologically younger. So something to consider. If it works for you, great. This is something that really works for me. And notice I'm actually swinging my arms right now. That's fine too. There's no right or wrong way other than don't do it hoo-ha. Like for example, eventually it's too much. So don't do too much. You can do it too long. Make sure you're getting rest and feeling good. But also just take care of yourself and make sure that you're not feeling anything that's like dizziness or something like that. And by the way, if you are getting dizzy, but it's okay, use a countertop. But if you're using a countertop, use both hands. So be careful about what you're doing for compensation, trying to make it as symmetrical as you can. You're never going to be symmetrical, but if your directionality is symmetrical, that's great. So for example, when I do deep flexibility work, if I do on one side, I do it on the other. Now, if one side is tighter than the other, I might do one side longer than the other, but I'll still do both sides, because taking an approach of doing one side only, it's very hard to get to symmetry through asymmetry. You're taking such a big step, it's unlikely you're gonna make it. So balance if you can, gentleness if you can. And honestly, the hardest part about this for me is, I know it does a lot, and it's just a matter of putting in the time. So typically I'll listen to music or I'll have a conversation with AI to distract myself. Perfectly real. If you can just do this on your own, that's great. And I'm finally to the point where I can kind of mostly do it on my own. I don't need the excuse. to get distracted by the boredom. But if you're finding yourself bored, that's a good sign. That means your ego is trying to get you distracted so that you stop doing it. But don't worry, your ego is a high fidelity telemetry reporting system. It's not your enemy. And if you do this over time, you're going to find that your ego is going to be more of a collaborative and observational over time, months and years, not days and weeks. Maybe days and weeks, depending on where you're at. But any little bit will help. So I'm going to keep doing this for a while because my intention is to actually get myself completely liquefied before I go back to work, so that in my afternoon meetings, I'm going to be in a very calm, reduced nervous system state. And what that means is I'll be able to listen longer and respond more slowly. And at the end of lunch, we were having a slightly heated discussion on architectural design points. And so I when I'm doing that kind of stuff, it's like I get myself a little worked up. Not much. I mean, it was fine. But I just assumed not maintain that high energy because there was no need for it. And so I'm going to work it out of my system like this. And then I'll work it back up again. So, I often build up the tension, reduce the tension, build up the tension, reduce the tension. And you can certainly do it at the end of the day, but you can also walk around your house for 2 minutes and hum. It's an amazing thing. Just simply walking around like here. Here, in fact, I'll do circle walking and humming. And this is actually, I'll tell you what, next video. Here's a new video. Very simple technique. As you get older, the signaling from your feet to your head gets more difficult for your brain to notice. That's just a natural thing. So as we get older, we tend to use our vision as opposed to feeling our feet for balance. If you want to reverse that and you want to improve your balance, and if you improve your balance, you're less likely to have a hip injury because you're less likely to fall, something you can do. Okay, I'm going to stand here. Simple thing. And you don't have to stand. I'm standing. You can sit to do this for what I'm doing right now. But I'm standing, so I'm going to do it standing. Okay. I'm feeling the inside balls of my feet. I'm feeling the outside of the balls of my feet. I'm pushing my foot in different direction. I'm pushing the heel down, and I'm crinkling the toes. Okay, I totally feel all those senses. Okay, now I'm going to make it more difficult. I'm going to make my feet a little bit wider. I don't want to twist my knees on this, so I'm going to make sure the outside of my feet are especially touching. I'm going to relax my sacrum down, so I'm pushing my sacrum down. In fact, I can do this from the side, it's fine. And then I'm going to turn my body. Doesn't seem like much. Now, crinkle your toes while you're turning your body. Why does this make a difference? So when I spin my body like this, there are two fascial lines, or there's the spiral line. It starts here, crosses behind, comes down, keeps going around the body, crosses just below the belly button, that's the lower dantian, keeps spiraling around, and then ultimately it comes up down to the feet, under the feet, I think. So when you move any fascial lines, here, I've just engaged some fascial lines. I've engaged some fascial lines. So outside of my arm by doing this, inside of my arm by doing this. That's sending electrical signals to my brain. There's a lot of information now all of a sudden going to my brain that wasn't. Now there's less. Lots of information, less information. So if I increase the flow of information and then I feel my toes, what you'll find is over time, your sense of your toes, your feet gets better. Also, you're training your brain to care about the feet. If you make a conscious habit of getting your brain to care about the feet, then eventually the brain is going to have an unconscious habit of caring about the feet. And so you turn a conscious act into a conscious competence act into an unconscious competent act by working with your brain. Consciousness is not in the moment. Consciousness is from the moment you make a decision, integrated over the entire time that decision is still applying. So my act now of training my feet makes my balance better so long as I keep that practice up. I mean, it improves it, and it's going to improve it for a while. But if I want to maintain that, I'm going to keep doing this. And slowly over time, the ego, am working with the implicit body brain by doing some conscious act. And as a result of that, I'm saying, hey, by the way, I think my feet are important. Could you work on making sure you know your feet very well? And the body's like, okay, no problem. The body doesn't care. The body's going to follow whatever you do. The body adjusts to what you're doing. If you're sitting around all day, your body's going to be really good about sitting around all day. If you're sitting around all day, then you're loosening yourself up. Your body's going to be actually a lot more fluid and dynamic. So twist and feel your feet. If you want to be a little bit more, circle walking. So look over your shoulder, walk in a circle, and crinkle your toes, feel your feet as you walk in a circle. This is a great exercise right here. Circle walking is wonderful. It's doing a lot more for you because you're changing your orientation, you're going in a circle. This is requiring a whole bunch of stuff to go on that you don't have to worry about. Just worry about feeling your feet. Saying, hey, I know I'm spinning, that's fine. I care about keeping my balance, so I want to feel my feet. So we're figuring out, basically, what I've been teaching for the last 4 years is how, as a user, as a person with a body, can you inform your body better so that you and your body are actually not talking to each other as separate things, but working together. It's called body integration. And so I can do things like choose my breathing pattern to affect my physiological state. And in doing that, I'm working with the way my body works to make it work better. So learning how your body works, how you respond to your stimulus, figuring out what works for you is all about what this is about. But there are certain things that are basic practices. Shaking, your body shakes, mammals shake. This is a macro activity that you can see in the wild, and you've probably done it yourself without realizing it, right? This is a great way to reset your body, just this. The humming, if you're not doing this and you do this, this is a huge magnifier. As huge as going from not doing this to doing this is, adding humming on top is that much bigger. It's huge in terms of what it does from a somatic body-mind integration perspective. And the biggest problem with it is two things. One, you have to do it. It doesn't happen in 30 seconds. You have to do it on the regular over time. So right there, that's an issue. You have to form a habit and do it. The great thing is, once you form the habit, you're going to find that, for me, I have known about shaking for 15 years, let's say. And I've done it on and off. But it wasn't until I had a specific thing where I was like, I wanted to increase the blood flow to my hands because of an injury. And this definitely does that. And after 3 days of doing it, I went from, oh, I want to make sure to help my hand to, this is helping my whole body. I'm just going to keep doing it. And so basically since the end of January of 2026, I've been doing it 5+ times a week, typically 15 to 30 minutes. And you don't have to do that much, 10 minutes. I would guess if you could do 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 days a week, I suspect you would notice huge differences. I don't have any baseline to know if that would be sufficient, but I noticed at 10 minutes that I started to notice. After 10 minutes, 10 days was when I looked back and said something has been going on that I wasn't aware of in a good way. So this is it, shaking. Add humming if you want to bring it up a notch. And again, you can do them separately. And let's say you're sitting. You can do something like this. I don't think it's as good, but just move with intention, slowly, avoid pain. That's it.